We are rolling. Welcome. Yes, it is me. Yes, D Jackson, your platform partner. And today we're going to talk about something that's really important is how to be the Toastmaster for the next meeting in your club. What is this? Is a guide on that position. This is probably the number one position. You know, it's funny. I spoke with someone who was a Toastmaster for about 3 years. And I was talking about being a Toastmaster, and they told me they had never been a Toastmaster. I said, "What? How are you never? This is crazy. How are you in Toastmasters and you never been a Toastmaster?" So anyway, let's get to the video and talk about how to be the Toastmaster and how to prepare for that position. So first and foremost, I'm going to talk a lot of specifics about my club. My club is in Chicago, Bold Literary Talker, 708-973. So we're going to be looking at some examples that you can see in my specific club. All right, so let's get into it. So first of all, my club, the first thing you want to do is you want to be able to check the agenda first, right? In fact, and so you want to know when you check the agenda, what's coming up, how many speakers, who's doing what, is there a theme for the meeting? You want to be in tune with all of these things, right? So the way that we check our agenda is we just go to our website, we click on that link I just clicked on there. Once you click on that link, it takes you to here, this agenda, and this is a Google Drive. You can see the date. Now you can see all of the speakers. You see, okay, we got 4 speakers. You can see the name of their speech titles. You can see what speech number they're given, all of that good stuff. All of this you want to know. Now, let's talk about in general, before we get into detail with that, what is the objective? The main duty of the Toastmaster, you're supposed to be the host, right? And you're making introductions. So this is almost like your meeting. You got to keep the energy up and keep the time moving along. So you want to be able to keep people's interest and also make people receptive and waiting and excited to hear the next upcoming speaker. So some of the things you want to do is find out with the VP of Education, is there any special theme that's going on for this meeting? Or you can create one for yourself. And they may be about 2 minutes or 3 minutes long. Create a special theme. And you might want to create a way where you want people to introduce themselves. You might say, hey, I want everyone to talk about what their favorite animal is. Say, what's your name, where you're from, and what's your favorite animal? What's your favorite movie? Right? If you want to add a theme to the meeting. Or you could just say, hey, I just want y'all to give basic introductions to talk about your speech. Okay. So also after you're doing that, you want to make sure that you know the introductions. And you also it's a good idea is to think about some remarks that you can make in between the speeches. Because what we do in our club is after every speech, 5 to 7 minutes, we have a 1-minute time for the evaluators to evaluate. But then in that time, the Toastmaster, you can come up with something to say about, hey, to tie in between the 2 different speakers to keep people engaged. So think about some ideas, just write it down. Even if you never use them, it's just good to have those. Remember, this is going to be very, very important that you prepare ahead of time. You want to prepare ahead of time. So let's go back to this agenda again. So the way that you prepare ahead of time is, again, knowing exactly how many people are speaking, and you want to contact all of the speakers. So on our agenda here, you can be able to see exactly who's speaking. You also see who are the evaluators. It says right here, you see your evaluators. You see the names of the evaluators. So you want to start either texting, email, or calling the speakers and the evaluators, seeing if they need anything special. Do they need props? Do they need a projector? Where's the introduction? We need your introduction to be on the agenda. On our agenda, the second page here is where the speakers begin to put their information. They can put their name of their speech, the time, and all that. If they have a brief introduction, all of that can be inputted right there on the agenda. So that's how we have it set up in our club. So make sure you communicate with people that they have this link, that they are aware of the agenda. Now, in our club, what we do is we have a one person who prints up the agenda. So if you do not have a person who's going to print the agenda, you want to ask around to see if you have to do it. Because as a Toastmaster, you want to make sure those agendas are printed. So you want to make they're printed. You want to also arrive to the meeting early. Once you get there, you want to check the stage. Make sure that the stage, everything, the room is set up good. Remember, it's good to have everybody sitting in the front, okay, versus just having people sitting all over. So you may not want all the seats to be in the back. So you want to be there prepared, make sure the projectors and the sockets and stuff is working. Make sure you want to go through that agenda and be prepared in case something happens, and meaning like a person doesn't show up or they show up late. There's been times where the word of the day person may not be there. You might have to shift stuff around, or you may have to give the word of the day. So you have to be prepared for all of those things. So have a thought of the day, a word of the day prepared, have a thing prepared. Also, in our club, we kind of have a small rule where we want for people to give at least six speeches from the manual and 3 evaluations before you are qualified to be the Toastmaster. And we also want you to shadow a Toastmaster first. So you have one day where you just shadow the Toastmaster, give 6 speeches and 3 evaluations. Now you're able to be the Toastmaster as well as the General Evaluator. All right, so also let's go back to the meeting. So again, you want to make sure that people are staying on time. You need to be looking at that time. If you feel like one speaker went over on time, then you gotta mention that, and then immediately you go up there and bring the next person right up. Or let's say if you're missing a speaker and now you got extra time, you need to fill in the gap, and maybe you give us not a speech, but you want to be able to talk and do something, speak on something, maybe interact with the crowd to fill up that time. But in our club, we usually don't have extra time because we have 4 to 5 speakers every meeting. So make sure that people are getting applause. You want to be the first person to giving out that applause. Tell people, oh, that was beautiful. That was beautiful. Sexual chocolate. I love it. So make sure that you're keeping the energy up. Keep an eye on that time. Keep an eye. Make sure that the people can see where the timer is going to be. And just keep things rolling. That's the most important thing. And keep that thing and keep that energy up. It's not just about, if you're dry and your people are going to be, your meeting's going to be dry. So your energy has to be authentic. You got to be strong. You want to talk to people. You want to really get people engaged. You can give out treats. You can have a trivia question or a quiz. Once the person leaves the stage, you can say, all right, here, can somebody tell me 3 things they got from the speech really quick? Give me 1 word on how you got from what you got from that speech. Do something, but you want to keep the energy up. And, crack jokes if you can, but at the same time, be on time because it's not about you. It's really all about the speakers. And just remember at the end, you're going to be introducing the General Evaluator. You introduce the table topics person, right? And that's on the agenda. After you introduce that table topics person, they do their thing. And then table topics leaves. Then you introduce the General Evaluator. The General Evaluator does their thing, their evaluations. And then from there, in our club, what we do is we actually have our president actually come and close out the meeting. So the Toastmaster does not come back up. But some clubs, you can have the Toastmaster come back up again. So that's up to your club. But in our club, the Toastmaster is pretty much done once that General Evaluator goes up there. And like I said, make sure you get credit in your manual with fulfilling this role, and just prepare. And so you can find these slides that I'm looking at. You can be able to find them on our website as well. Also, if you just do a Google search for how to be the Toastmaster, you'll find things and resources that can help you do that. So make sure you just prepare yourself as the #1 thing. Preparation, and communication, because you are the host. So you want to make sure everything is there. Make sure the lighting is right. The General Evaluator and the evaluators have already spoken to the speakers. The speakers already have their bios or their introductions are already on the agenda, or they're pre-written somewhere. All of this is important for you to have a successful meeting. And staying on time is key. And those are some of the main things. And I'm going to keep this video short. You do those things, it's going to be an awesome meeting. And again, make sure if you want to hear more videos about Toastmasters and how to be a better speaker, subscribe to our YouTube page. And yeah, just keep looking out for more videos. I look forward to seeing you. D Jackson, all about making things happen in Chicago and worldwide.